Hi, Robin with Oxy-Dry, and here I am doing a commercial job, so I'll walk you through it. This is a medical clinic, a sleep clinic actually. It's I did the other sleep clinic last week. This is so I do both the clinics that are owned by this doctor or doctors. I'm not sure if there's more than one, but I've been doing this one for a few years again, like the last one, so I guess at least 6 or 7 years. Overall, it's actually in good shape. There's a couple of areas where there's some soiling showing. There's pretty, people coming and going all the time. I've moved stuff around a little bit to be ready here. You can see there's quite a bit of a traffic lane here. And I think the carpet is around 10 years old, so it's actually, considering the age, really not bad condition. This is the monitoring room back here. I got a couple of mats to do as well. This is not a carpet tile, and we'll be doing that room. And there's an issue going on up at the front here with the there's lifting here. So I already sprayed that a little bit. Anyway, as I say, I've been cleaning it for probably 6 or 7 years, I believe. And I think I've only ever used my rotary on here. I don't think I've ever used any of my OPs on here. And one of the reasons I wouldn't, various reasons why I wouldn't, is getting into these offices and whatever it's a little awkward having to maneuver the OP compared to the rotary, which is an absolute breeze, as you're going to see. So of course I'm using the Centaur RotoSETT Rotary 2-speed 200 300 RPM machine. I did wet that pad a little bit already, and I've got Revive Rocket in here. I normally would clean it around 4 ounces or so per gallon. I increased it a little bit for this, so there we go. There's a full jug in there. So that's almost where we, 2.5 gallons there. So we're going to use the Astro Turf green stripe pads. I find they work just wonderful on these type of carpets. No problems at all. The AstroTurf has a great scrubbing ability. And one thing to bear in mind, like a lot of people I get that in jobs like this, they'd often use a machine like a Cymex, which has the three spinning heads that are moving in a planetary motion around a center point, and it has great scrubbing ability and everything. But of course, it's not actually drawing any soil up and out of the carpet. Well, virtually nothing anyway. I've many years ago, 15 years, 20 years ago, I can't remember how long ago, first time I saw a Cymex machine, well, I think it was the first one in Canada actually. Well, one of my brothers had brought it in. He knew Ed York as well, who was the guy that basically introduced that machine to everybody. But anyway, I saw it and I saw how it worked and everything, and my thought was, well, where's the dirt? And I get how encapsulation works, and I obviously I'm not saying it's wrong, but I felt that for my vision for carpet cleaning was that I wanted to use a machine or a system that actually would draw soil up and out. So that's why I'm a believer in using at least the pad extraction method to draw out as much as you can. and obviously vacuuming is part of the cleaning. Actually, the cleaning lady, I was just talking to her, and she vacuums it every day. And I told her, well, after I'm done, you can vacuum again later today, and she's going to do that. So this carpet does get very thoroughly vacuumed anyway, so there's virtually no particulate to deal with in this carpet. But the oily, visible soils is what we're dealing with, and that's where the pad extraction or soil extraction transfer technique or technology really has its advantages, as it will dissolve, emulsify, and lift the soil up and transfer it into the absorbent pad. So comparing that to just an encapsulating machine or system, which I could do with this if I just put a fiber pad or a brush on here, I could just encapsulate this. But as I say, I do want to pull soil out of the carpet. I believe in doing that, but I'm not saying you're wrong to do the other way. Just that it's not my thing. So anyway, we're going to clean this carpet, and I think, I expect I'll use probably at least as much as what I've got here. I've got more solution there if I need it, but probably this will be enough. We'll see. And that's one of the reasons I actually like the rotary, is because I'm able to clean such a large area and use a minimal amount of solution. It gives me a much better control as far as application goes anyway, because I shower feed, which works perfectly well. I know that not everybody agrees with that, but I've been doing it for 30 years without an issue. And for over 10 years I've been putting out videos showing how effective and consistent and efficient it is. So disagree all you want, but proof's in the pudding. So anyway, we're going to clean, and this is my 21-year-old rotary, and it works phenomenal. This is running at 300 RPM right now. This is the Centaur, which is a Canadian-made machine. Very high quality. They're not cheap, but they have a lot of features that other machines do not have. And if you go to the centaurmachines.com website, if you're curious about this machine, then you can learn all about all the different things that it will do. And I am currently running without pardon me, I'm running without the splash guard. The last job that I cleaned, and I think it was the last video I posted, was the other commercial job, sleep clinic, and I ran with the splash guard on that job. If you want to see that setup, which obviously is very simple because it just basically clips on there. But I thought this time I decided not to use the splash guard on this job. And one of the advantages I can actually literally get right up onto the baseboard and get the dust out of that edge. So there's an advantage of using this machine without the baseboard when you've got a pad on there that's a little bit larger. And this is actually a 17-inch pad driver I've got on here, and that is a 19-inch Rubbermaid green stripe Astro pad. So this is soil extraction transfer technology, commercial carpet cleaning, and this machine is doing, in 1 hour, this machine will be doing about 18,360 degree cleaning passes on the carpet. So there's a tremendous amount of cleaning energy going into the carpet or onto the carpet as I do this. And although I do have OP machines, I have a Vibe, I have an Orbot, and I have a couple of, actually I have a Challenger, and a couple of Orbitex, this, and you could certainly clean with any one of those machines. This is going to be a better option for many reasons, and it certainly is physically easier. As you see, I'm able to move forward all the time, moving away from my power source. I don't have to do the back and forth motion, and the movement of the machine is not accomplished by me putting really any effort into it. There's a rotary, if you know how to use a rotary, or I guess not everybody has even used one, but when you turn it on, it actually will maneuver any direction you want with very little effort. All you have to do is basically lift and lower the handle slightly to do left and right, and I'm just taking a step back and forth and holding the handle. Actually, the handle is kind of pressed up against my leg the whole time. So you can see that I'm able to go in every or any direction I want without any effort, and that's whereas with an OP machine with wheels down, such as the Vibe, which is a fine machine and will certainly clean carpets very, very well, but in a scenario like this, you're going to have to do a fair amount of maneuvering around to get it to get around the corners and under the desk and all that kind of stuff. Nothing wrong with that. It just, as I get older, I'm a little more fussy, I guess. I just like the rotary. It's not everybody's thing, but I prefer it myself. There's some wear going on right here, obviously, because the chair wheels are doing that, of course. Put a little bit of slack here. There's a bit of a mark right there, I think. And that's suspend in my trigger spare. Oh, there we go. Okay. So basically what's going on is I'm usually pulling the trigger when I move to the right because the solution is dropping down on the right side, and then kind of an extra spray, as it were, throwing out to the right a bit more. And all I'm doing is just trying to make sure that the pad remains damp, not saturating it. And if I remember when I get to the end of this little video session, I'll try to remember to show you the top of the pad, which in almost every case will be dry or virtually dry, even though I've been cleaning as much as I do when I stop, which just to show that when done correctly, one of the things that people will say is, I've read in comments, is that if you shower feed, you're going to saturate the pad and wash the dirt through. And again, I've said it many times, that if you do this correctly, that will not happen. But the key is to just do it correctly. So when people say that, if someone says that to you, just know that they are either speaking out of ignorance, or well, they're not being exactly truthful about what's going on here or how to do this. So, and I've been showing for over 10 years that this works perfectly well when you do it the right way. But the key is to be well aware of what you're doing all the time, so that you don't overwet the pad, you don't overwet the carpet. You're in complete control all the time, and it's much more precise. This works, and I've proven it. And I mentioned when I began here, this machine is 21 years old, and it works. It runs beautiful. And when I did the cleanup on it, I did, take a really good look at everything, and there's really no wear on this thing. It definitely had been used, but even the carbon brushes have really not that much wear on them. So I doubt it was used daily, whoever had it. So, who knows? It might have sat for quite a while. I don't know. But anyway, it was definitely well worth the $300 I paid. I paid $300 for one and $350 for the other. I'm gonna drop the handle a little bit here. Okay. This is the older one, so it has the handle release down at the bottom, and it's a twisting clamp, which is a better way to go. If you've got a rotary and you have the one that has the lever that pinches, they will wear. I've worn them out literally on machines in the past where I've had to replace those that pinching mechanism. This setup is a better, longer lasting, and it's a setup. I mean, maybe it'll wear out eventually, but it's just much better built. The Koblenz has a really good setup too, which is another twisting, like this, and it's a solid cast aluminum spinner thing or whatever, and so yeah, that's definitely a better setup. My Hawk has the pinching lever thing, and it's a little bit better than a lot of them because of the way it's made, but and then I have the NSS, and yeah, it's actually a pretty poor setup, and it has some issues already because it's got a really thin, I don't know what you call it, it's got a part in it that wears and apparently isn't available anymore, so I guess you could probably maybe fabricate something, but anyway, yeah, not impressed. In fact, the one many years ago, I had an NSS and I had to replace the lever on that one, if I recall now, because it just wears out. It's just not really. I mean, they work and you get a few years out of them, but really it's not the best. I expect this will take me minimum of 2 hours, maybe 3, for this whole job. And you know, somebody had commented on one of my videos, another Canadian, and he was saying how he's from Toronto, and he was saying that where he is, that they're down to 6 cents a square foot for commercial carpet cleaning, or less. You know, it's like, oh my goodness me. You think about that, how incredibly low and unrealistic that pricing is. Because by the time you take a look at the length of time it takes you to do, you know, 1,000 square feet, that's $60 for 1,000 square feet. And you know, if you're having to bid on jobs where that kind of rate is what you're having to price at to get the job, well, you're now at the point where it becomes no longer viable. By the time you take a look at the time it takes, the amount of money you invest in equipment, you know, whether it be even a Cymax, I think they're in Canada, I'm not sure, but I think they're over $5,000. And then the amount you pay out for the product that you're going to use, because you'll use product. I think the Cymax actually goes through a fair amount of product, I think. I've actually never really used one, so there was that time that I did use one, it was very briefly. But one of the advantages of using a machine like a Cymax is that if you have employees, you can hand one of those machines to an employee, and within really just a few minutes they can get competent enough that you can, you know, probably leave them be if they're relatively intelligent, and they can, you know, do a decent job with it. But of course it's not actually taking any dirt out of the carpet. But anyway, yeah, 6 cents a square foot. I mean, wow, that's just painful. You've got to be able to factor in not simply the amount of money you're making while you're doing it, but that money that's got to carry you through those times when you aren't cleaning carpet. And that's one of the things I think that a lot of people don't realize, maybe. A lot of the times there's people that'll go down to incredibly lowball pricing. You know, the problem is that they're at a point of desperation to do that, thinking they're going to corner the market and everything, and maybe they will to a certain point, but eventually the actual true cost of operating, by the time you pay for everything, including of course your taxes, and if you've got employees, you've got to pay the remittance, and you know, on and on it goes. The actual true cost of operating, it can eat up an awful lot of your monies, and you have to be making an actual profit in order to do this business over the long run. So I told my wife that. She said, it's not even worth doing. and it's true, it's not. It's like, you know, why are you doing that if you're basically subsidizing, you know, a business, or you know, some big building or whatever, and you're desperately trying to get the work at ridiculous prices, you know. In a lot of cases, of course, the place that you're desperately trying to get the work from is in a business that makes maybe millions of dollars profit a year. It's really quite amazing when you think about it. And then the other thing is, of course, whatever expenses they put out to take care of the building or whatever, or the office in this case. You know, these are things that they deduct off of their profit, so that they don't have to pay out that money in taxes. So, you know, one way or the other, they're still going to pay it out. They might as well pay it to somebody to give their carpet a proper cleaning. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, I thought I'd share that interesting little bit of information. I mean, 6 cents a square foot. I won't be out there cleaning carpet at that kind of rate. I remember many years ago when I was in Victoria, I was working with a guy, and we actually had a truck mount at the time, and we went and went to a meeting at the Department of National Defense for a big contract opportunity for doing a bunch of carpet cleaning in the what's called the dockyard in Victoria, which is a Canadian Forces, basically a naval base. And we went in there and we were going to be making a bid on some work there, but we realized when we got there that there was a couple of different families of a certain ethnicity that were there. And one of the things, interestingly enough, one of the requirements was that you had to have a truck mount, and we knew for a fact that these guys did not have a truck mount. But afterwards, we were talking together about it, and they were saying that what these guys will do is they'll go in there, they'll make an incredibly lowball bid for the job, because it was actually the janitorial. I'll have to do that by hand right there. It was janitorial, so it included all aspects of janitorial plus the carpet cleaning. We were only interested in the carpet cleaning, and the idea, I guess, was we would try to get the carpet cleaning and then subcontract out the janitorial. I guess it was what we were thinking. But they were telling me that what these guys were doing is that they'd make the bid on the job ridiculously low, and being government, they'd always go with the lowest price that they could get. And then we're going to look at the pad here. And then they go and they start doing the contract and go for 3 months, 6 months, or whatever, and then the quality was obviously cutting corners left, right, and center, and finally they would lose the contract. Oh, it's not that bad yet. They'd lose the contract, and then they come up for bid again, and then these guys would they'd basically just recreate another business, come in under another name and another group of them or whatever, and they did this all the time, and this was pretty common and understood as to what they were doing, at least with the other carpet cleaners and janitorial firms around, and basically everybody understood that you couldn't win because the pencil pushers in the government they were always you see that's coming from the hinges here. They were always going to be choosing the cheapest price. That's what they did. And so these guys understood that, and so they'd always give the cheapest price, and then the company would do a crappy job, they'd lose the contract, so they'd often sort of disappear, and then they'd come to the next bidding session and under another name and do the thing all over again. Yep, that's what they did. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. So I'm going to continue on, and got these rooms here and down the hall, and maybe I'll do another video. We'll see. Anyway, I'll let you go now, and for now, and thank you for watching, and have a good day.